On today's Locked On Thunder podcast, the NBA playoff bracket is breaking right for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
You are Locked On Thunder, your daily Oklahoma City Thunder podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's get it going on the Locked On Thunder podcast, on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. I am your host, media member, and beat writer for Thunder on SI, Rylan Stiles. Follow me on Twitter at Rylan_Stiles. Follow the show on Twitter at LO Thunderpod. Email the show, lothunderpod@gmail.com. On today's show, brought to you by Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. Turn any TV into an Xbox, by the way. We're joined by Joe Mussato of the Oklahoman, the Constitution columnist here. I meant to say columnist and not Constitution. Constitution's the old Lawton paper. But
you always have Lawton on your mind, buddy.
Yeah, you haven't written down there with old Joey Goodman recently, Joe. But you're still a great Joe. So, Joe, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Rylan. I'm enjoying all the basketball. However, I'm ready for Thunderball to be back, but we gotta wait a few more days. But hey, if anything can quench my thirst, it's talking to you here on this podcast.
I'm glad that you think that way, Joe. I cannot wait to see what the Thunder have to take care of in round two. But, we are getting a little bit of a sneak peek into that next round just as the rest of the bracket is taking shape. We do know that there will be no Thunder basketball this weekend, regardless of how the Nuggets and Clippers series wraps up. The Thunder will either play on Monday or Tuesday of next week. But, Joe, the Los Angeles Lakers are already gone from the NBA playoffs. They've been beat in 5 by the Minnesota Timberwolves. And after that baseball-style series in April and the trade for Luka, the Lakers were viewed as the top threat to OKC. What do you make of them being ousted in the first round?
Well, this is interesting because on one hand, I'm really wondering if we overreacted to that baseball series in which,
clearly,
the Lakers won one of the games, played really well in both of them. Luka was ejected in that second game, but you said clearly, I'm not so sure. Like I am ready to admit defeat about the Lakers. However, just because they were bounced in the first round by the Timberwolves does not mean that they weren't the Thunder's biggest threat. Now, seeing how that series played out, the Lakers' lack of depth, JJ Redick, who I think is a really good coach, just kind of, I don't know, kind of losing his mind at times. Like, I don't think the Thunder would have been threatened in the series by the Lakers. But at the same time, it's like every matchup is different. I still think that would have been a tough matchup. But yeah, I think we probably overrated the Lakers. I know I'm talking in circles here, but I'm confounded by what happened to the Lakers.
Yeah, I think that we did overrate the Lakers in the sense of just expecting them, because I did it as well. I expected them to go to the West Finals, but there was a lot of obstacles to clear in their path clearly as they got beat by the Timberwolves. I think that the winner of this round between the Lakers and the Timberwolves would always be viewed as the Thunder's biggest threat, because you look around the rest of the bracket and it's like Denver and the Clippers. We'll talk about that coming up. And then the Rockets don't have any offense, and the Warriors shouldn't be able to compete with the Thunder, even though they have the pedigree. The Thunder is a better team than the Clippers. And then with the Lakers, even though they got beaten 5 games, like Luka Doncic just solves this Thunder defense better than anybody else in the NBA. It's like Luka's a big deal, and the fact that Dallas just gave him away, like an old George Strait song, Joe. I mean, that's just crazy. But now you have Minnesota on the horizon. That Minnesota can play your style of basketball. I mean, they can go big. They can play excellent small ball just like the Thunder can. They have a head of the snake that you really trust in Anthony Edwards in these big moments. I think that a Minnesota series would be just sensational basketball, and it'd be a very tough bout for the Thunder. But the fact that you get to avoid the Luka Doncic situation is a good thing, I think.
I think the fact that we're like flip-flopping and have really all season on who the Thunder's biggest threat in the West was. First, I was Dallas, and then all hell broke loose, and then I was Denver, then I was the Lakers, Now I don't know what I am. I picked the Thunder to play the Warriors in the West Finals. I don't think I would do that right now. I think I would pick Timberwolves. So I keep going back and forth, and I think it's reflective of the fact that the Thunder is the heavy favorite to come out of the West and should come out of the West. However, like the Lakers, the lack of depth was absolutely glaring. The Warriors, I think that would be a similar case. The Timberwolves, they can come the closest to matching, obviously star talent at the top with Ant Edwards, but they're really deep too. And I think these playoffs, it's too small of a sample. But it's not just about who's the best player in the series anymore. You have to have some depth. The Timberwolves have that, and I think they match up as well as anybody against this Thunder team. So the fact that you wouldn't have to play them until the West Finals, and I think we could come out of the second round series and say that's going to be a harder matchup than whoever the Thunder faces in the West Finals. But again, like we don't know who the biggest threat is because there probably isn't one.
Yeah, it feels very manufactured. I mean, the Thunder should win the West, and the bracket is breaking that way where they should win the West. That's not to say that the Clippers, Nuggets, Timberwolves, and Warriors are going to be pushovers, right? But if this team is who we think that they are, Joe, if they're the 68-win team that has been dominant all season long, that swept the first round in which they looked much improved from the last time we saw them in a playoff series. If they're that team that we think they are, they're going to have to beat good teams in the playoffs, and they will beat good teams in the playoffs, and other teams will struggle to keep pace with what the Thunder are doing. So I just think that the bracket is breaking right for them in the sense of who's been eliminated, but also like round two. I know that the NBA kind of gave them a break of not starting this series no matter what until Monday or Tuesday because it could end tonight between the Nuggets and the Clippers, and it will for sure end Saturday. And so you'd at least get a couple of days off. But, I mean, they're beat up, Joe. Mm-hmm. They are beat up, and they're beating each other up. Michael Porter Jr.'s injury on a team that is already shallow. We know that the Clippers are playing a very physical style of basketball right now, and at times they look a little bit out of gas. And the Thunder, on the flip side, have been off for over a week. Like that's good news as well when you're talking about how the bracket is breaking, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is good news, and you're right about the schedule. I mean, I thought there was a chance that the Thunder could play game one as soon as Saturday, and it's going to be at least 2 days after that, where Monday is the earliest they could play. So that'll help whoever wins this Nuggets Clippers series. I probably shouldn't make a prediction because I know it's going to be outdated, but the Clippers are the better team. Like I mean, credit to the Nuggets if they get through this. I really think that the Nuggets are a better matchup or an easier matchup for the Thunder than the Clippers would be, even though they've got the best player in the world in Jokic. But yeah, I mean, you nailed it. The bracket is breaking right, and part of the bracket breaking right, it's difficult for me to say, is that the bracket is going to look good no matter who is lined up against the Thunder, because the Thunder has been that dominant that no team really does have the answer. It's like, yeah, this team could make the finals, but if they run into Oklahoma City, yeah, they're probably doomed. And that's how we're talking about every other team in the West. I'm not saying the Thunder is going to come out of the West for sure. I certainly picked them to, but it would be a disappointment, especially as you've seen how this first round is played out.
We'll talk about that second round. We'll talk about some adjustments the Thunder have to make and who we think that they're going to play coming up. But first, Joe, got to tell you right now, our good friends over at Fire TV. Did you know your Fire TV is also an Xbox? Turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe or sign in to Xbox Game Pass Unlimited with EA Play, and you're ready to play and dive into hundreds of premier titles, including EA Sports College Football 25 and Call of Duty. It's easy. As streaming your favorite shows, you can now stream your favorite games and be like me. I've won 6 national titles with my Tennessee Volunteers and in college football. You can do the same with your Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. with Amazon, going there to amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On. And check it out today because NBA Xbox Game Pass Unlimited subscription is compatible with the controller that is required, available on select devices, including the Fire TV Stick 4K second generation, Fire TV Stick 4K Max first and second generation, and Fire TV Cube third generation. We're back on the Lockdown Thunder podcast, on the Lockdown Podcast Network, your teams every day. Joe, you really hit it at the end of that last segment. Like, everyone is going to look for drama, is going to try to poke holes in the Thunder's case, because we don't want to just, believe that the Thunder are one of those teams you can pencil into the finals, because we want to have this era of parity, which the NBA has accomplished. But in terms of like what the expectation level should be, the expectation level should be the Thunder make the finals, because when you list out the Thunder's issues, right? If you tried really hard to conjure up all the possible things that could stop them from reaching the NBA finals, their list is shorter than everyone else's list. And sometimes it's just that simple.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, part of it is the depth. I mean, we've seen this team play at times without Chet Holmgren, without Hartenstein, without Dub, and the depth helps overcome that. Like, the only way to really poke holes in how far the Thunder could go is if you think of some like drastic injury that no one could see coming. Besides that, you've got to feel good about their chances. I mean, the Memphis series didn't really like show me anything new. I didn't come away like more or less impressed by the Thunder, but it was just a reminder of like, this team is a machine. If anything, I think Alex Caruso he's a madman in the regular season, but he lost his ever-loving mind in the playoffs and just plays, I mean, so incredibly hard. And I wrote about this, but like, this is a whole team of tryhards, but like Caruso even stands out among them. And to see how he can ramp it up in the playoffs, that was probably the thing that stood out the most to me.
Yeah, the defense is at a championship level. The defense is at a level that would make Nico Harrison blush if he was watching these games right now. Like, that's how good the Thunder's defense is, which is the backbone of their team and does generate them easy offense, especially whenever, the lineups that we've previously seen labor score are in the game. They're able to generate and get themselves off to the right foot by sparking transition opportunities with the turnovers that they're able to generate because of their activity defensively. But, we've had a lot of conversations about Jalen Williams, J-Dub, of the two, on and off the record, about his viability in the playoffs and kind of what this season would look like for him, because it is such an interesting topic. I mean, like there's a world where J-Dub is both good enough to win you a championship, and that's obviously spectacular, and a world where he's not quite there yet, and it's not a need for any think pieces or concern or panic, right? Because this is, at the end of the day, this is his second ever attempt at the playoffs. And if you go compare Jalen Williams to the list of NBA legends who are in Springfield and who are just immortal now, many of them did not get the job done in their second ever playoff run. But this was always kind of an interesting dichotomy, because this team is good enough to where if he can play at that level, they can win a championship. And that's a lot to put on a guy this young. But I thought in round one, he really impressed. I thought that he was better in round one than he was against New Orleans in round one, in the sense of like sustainability. Like, obviously everybody played good against New Orleans last year. They swept New Orleans too. But, Jalen Williams this year did more like self-creation in terms of trying to get his shots in the mid-range and getting to the rim. He was just a better facilitator to set his teammates up for better shots. And the most important part too is that in half your wins that series, games 1 and 2, it was Jalen Williams who blew the game wide open. He blew the game wide open in the start of the second quarter in game 1. He blew the game wide open in the fourth quarter after Shai kind of steadied things at the end of the third. Taking that baton from Shai, who steadied the waters at the end of the third once Memphis cut it to 8, and then extending the lead and putting the death nail into Memphis. Like that's the formula this Thunder team needs. So it's only Memphis, and you don't want to say that that's who J-Dub will be forever in this playoff run, but he's only gotten one opportunity. He's only gotten one crack at kind of redemption. And I thought in round one, he was really special.
Yeah, so far so good. He was awesome in round one. I think if the Thunder makes a deep run here and J-Dub keeps playing great basketball, we could look back at round one and say, hey, maybe it wasn't a bad thing that Shai's shot was a little off in round one and that J-Dub really had to pick up the offense at times, because in a series that you were going to win anyway, I think it's great that, Dub and Chet sort of led the way at times. He averaged 23.3 points in the series. Here's what I like most about J-Dub. From 2-point range against the Grizzlies, he shot 65%. So he shot 54% overall in the series, and he wasn't making threes. He was 29% from three. So to shoot 54% while not making a lot of threes, inside the arc, finishing at the rim, that mid-range game was just automatic. Tiny sample size, but it was odd how many free throws he missed. I don't think that's a concern going forward. But overall, I love how Dub really attacked the Grizzlies in the first round.
Yeah, his kind of aggression level was different than it was a year ago. Joe, talking about expectations, we both have put the Thunder in the NBA Finals, like as their expectation level is to get there. Has anything else changed? I know that wasn't a change from pre-playoffs, because we both predicted them to do that before the playoffs began. But even looking at the Eastern Conference, like the Cavs just blew out the Heat, but the Heat also aren't a real playoff team. The Celtics, dropping one game to the Magic and having some interesting contests in the mix, but ultimately handling their business. Like, to me, it just reaffirmed a lot, this first round. Like, I still believe that we're on a collision course to get Cavs, Celtics in the East Finals, and that the Thunder should be able to make the West Finals. But are you a believer in these Pacers, or are you a believer in the possibility that Boston is fallible?
No. The West is deeper, the West is better, but two of the best three teams in the NBA are in the East. And I think it's almost a foregone conclusion that it's going to be Boston or Cleveland coming out of the East. I think that's going to be a tremendous series. Indiana certainly is going to make you work for things. I mean, who knows even if the Knicks get out of the first round, but I'm still, I picked Thunder and Celtics in the finals. I would stick to that. And again, I don't think you can have these grand takeaways from the first round. It's more so like, okay, what changed the way the Thunder played a little bit? And I mentioned Caruso, and not to get too granular here, but I was asking Chet Holmgren about this week, but he took 3 more threes per game in the first round. And part of that was, Zach Edey's playing drop. Like the Grizzlies almost have to give Chet that shot, but just his willingness to take those threes. We talk about an offense that at times can get a little clunky. If Chet is taking his threes in stride without thinking, like that makes this offense even scarier. If he continues to get in pre-injury form, this Thunder team is going to be as complete as can be. And really, it's not until you're facing a Cleveland or a Boston that any team can match up with them.
Yeah, we'll talk about some of those adjustments. We'll talk about who the Thunder we think will play in round 2, all coming up. We're back on the Locked On Thunder podcast, on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Here with Joe Mussato, the Oklahoman, the columnist, the best columnist in the world, Joe Mussato. We're talking Thunder basketball here in round 2. There's no reason to laugh here, Joe.
This side of the Constitution, right?
Yeah, the Constitution. Yeah, that's tough. Did I do it again?
No.
Oh, okay.
I was just bringing it up,
Yeah, well, we don't have like columnists the Constitution anymore, so you've cleared that hurdle.
Times are tough in the newspaper business, but
it's not going well for you guys, I've heard.
Podcasts are thriving.
You're on a couple of them, so yeah, you should know. But you did clear Greg Cody, so congratulations on that. Your playoff coverage has really buoyed you up the standings of my personal record book. But when you look at this Thunder team, what's crazy about them sweeping is we can go down a laundry list of things that makes them even better. That's like pretty realistic to expect to happen. Like obviously Shai is going to have a better series in totality than he had against Memphis. And there's no really explanation needed. He's the MVP of this league leading in score, uber efficient. He's never really had a stretch like this in his career. And even in the playoffs, he's been dominant. So it's not like a worry about like the playoff nature of the game. So Shai's going to be better. The Thunder shot like 7% worse from three than they did in the regular season on generating really high quality looks. You imagine that the math tells you that they're going to shoot the ball better from three, and then they have to have those shots go in. Free throws, like, oh my gosh, like they missed a lot of free throws that could have cost them, and like they got to situations where, like in game 3, J-Dub gets to the line 10 times, which is awesome, and you want J-Dub to be being aggressive, getting downhill, getting to the rim. He makes 6 of them. Like you've got to be able to convert those at a higher clip when this game gets tighter. And it's like J-Dub, for example, shot 60% from the free throw line in this series. He shot 78% from the free throw line in the regular season. Like that. So he wasn't like a 90% type of guy in the regular season, but he's 18 percentage points better than he was in the first round, which you think will correct itself. You mentioned, Chet Holmgren being more willing to shoot threes, and like that opens Pandora's box to him catching fire from three, even from quarter to quarter, much less game to game. I mean, look at game 3 when he had 1 point, and then second half he goes for 20-something points and wills this Thunder team back for a win. And then defensively, this has been like the only constant of like, you're going to get this high intense defense that creates havoc and suffocates teams. The one time that they didn't, have the energy required, I guess you could say, was game 3 to start it out, and you got done 29 points. And so I think that might have been a bit of a wake-up call for the Thunder. But there's just ways for this team to improve internally, regardless of what the matchups are giving them, that I think will happen, and I think will take them to another step. But, Joe, who do you think the Thunder are going to play in round 2? I mean, the Nuggets are in the driver's seat. They won game 5. Home court advantage teams to win game 5 in the first round, 50-2, Joe. So to win the series. So they need to hold on, get one win out of these next 2 games. But who do you think will be the round 2 opponent?
I think it's going to be the Clippers.
Wow, the upset. 50-3 now, huh? Just forget the stat I just said, everybody. Joey's going to call history.
They've been the better team this series. You agree with that, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that the dunk buzzer beater after blowing a big lead, it was not encouraging. I think that game 5, frankly, was not sustainable. I mean, you got a disaster from James Harden, which could happen again. Let's be fair. But yeah, Jamal Murray's
not going to do that again. He'll do that once a series.
Yeah, Jamal Murray 40 points with the Jokic triple-double, with a 2017 Russell Westbrook performance. Like will the stars align on that again? That's your 2 wins of the series.
Yeah. So I think, in front of that wall, they've got at the old Intuit Dome where you'll be heading soon enough, Rylan. I think the Clips...
You get the whole company car situation cleared up? Are you heading out there too, or what?
I think the Clips take game 6. And, Denver, we've seen them lose a game 7 at home last year. So it could happen. But listen, I know I'm going against all logic.
Against the grain.
It'll probably be Denver, but I think I'm going to say it's the Clips.
I'm going to say it's Denver. I think that they could drop tonight's game, and you could be feeling really good for 24 hours. But the altitude, the game 7, the best player in the world with Jokic, like I'll take my bets on that at home on Saturday.
You like that mountain air out there in Denver?
Oh, I got a taste of it at Salt Lake City with you at All-Star Weekend a couple of years ago. We were out there having a good time. You did lead us astray. I thought we were going to die at Salt Lake City in the All-Star weekends, but then you recovered the weekend. You kind of bookend the weekend with like, we almost died. The last day of the weekend, you took us to a great brunch spot. So yeah, I mean, you won in the end. So credit to you, Joe. Joe, what do you got?
We would tear it up in Denver.
Oh, buddy, would we? Let me tell you something. There's a few things in Denver that you can't get here, buddy. Joe, what do you got?
Rockies baseball.
Rockies baseball. You can't watch the Rockies play here. I mean, unless they still have the old Albuquerque Isotopes. Maybe they come to town still. I don't know. I haven't kept up with the MILB divisions recently. But yeah, we'll go get a couple beverages and watch the old Rockies. Why not?
That'd be great.
When in Rome. Maybe we'll run into Peyton Manning. That would be a dream come true.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great. Joe, what can they go find you doing at the Oklahoman?
You can tell Peyton about the 6 national titles you've won with his volunteers on.
Yeah, he's helped me recruit some quarterbacks in there. I mean, that's been a really big boost for our program.
I'm working on all sorts of things, Rylan. I mean, we've had obviously tons of playoff coverage to sort of get you through the downtime. I'm not sure I should say this on an NBA show, but I'm actually working on a horse racing story. We got the Kentucky Derby coming up Saturday. A horse from one of Toby Keith's farms, who his family is still connected with, obviously, is running in the Derby. So I'm writing about the Keith family and that horse. So I might as well do some cross-platform advertising here. But yeah, I got all sorts of random things going.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the kind of Swiss Army knife that puts you in the number 1 of columnists in my personal record book. I mean, you've done bull riding, you've done horseback riding. They can't keep you away from the stick sports.
Are you a big Kentucky Derby guy?
No, I think it's a little bit too highfalutin. I mean, get over yourself.
Okay.
I mean, at the end of the day, the horses are going to go to the glue factory soon. They're just running in circles. Who really cares? Save your big hats and go back, to the coal mines and hills and everything else out there in Kentucky. I mean, please, it's a step below. It's a step below car racing. I don't enjoy car racing either. It's the same thing nonstop. At least in the car racing, there's collisions every once in a while, and Lord willing, they're always safe. But
do you think the horses care about winning?
Oh no, I don't think they know a lick about winning. I really don't. I think that if anything, they might go the other way. I think if anything, the horses might care more about losing. Where like if you've had a really bad week of training and you've been really whipping that thing, he's not going to perform for you. That's the secret to horse racing. Now I know I don't like horse racing. I do know some of the secrets. You got to really coddle them. I mean, I'm talking throughout the week, brushing their mane, whispering sweet nothings in their ear.
Yeah.
You got to give them a lot of carrots. I usually go about 5 carrots before the race to the horse. That really energizes them for the whole thing. And really, they turn it into V8 by the end of it, if you know what I mean. So it ends up working out. But and then after about 2 or 3 years, they're off to Elmer's, and away you go. You find a new one. But
hey, to connect this, might be the Nuggets in the second round and big horse guy Jokic. So maybe we can talk to him. You don't want to tell him you're going to send any of his horses to the glue factory. He'll send you there.
Yeah, I mean, his brothers especially, those guys don't put up with a lot of nonsense, I've heard. Ask Markieff Morris and Marcus Morris and the Morris twins, whichever Morai that happened to, I forgot now. Joe, thanks for joining us. What an ending this was to a show. I don't know how much of this I can keep on the air, but anyway, be good and be good to one another.